Good morning. Welcome back to the Red Mic. Happy Tuesday. I'm glad you're here. These Red Mic messages are leadership and life lessons I've picked up from 25 years as a public servant, 16 years as a youth football coach and scouting volunteer, and 10 years as a mediocre athlete with far more heart than actual physical ability. Today's Red Mic message is about toughness. I'm not talking about the tough guy, showing up in action films or junk like that. No chest pumping, no social media posturing. No, I'm talking about real toughness, the kind that you build, the kind that's not born, the kind that you earn with hard work and sweat, and usually in a lot of silence. The only place that success comes before work is in the dictionary. Toughness is the same thing. It shows up when no one else does. When it's 5 o'clock in the morning and your body is saying, stay in bed, your mental toughness says, get up. When you had a rough day, but you still prepare for tomorrow instead of, feeling sorry for yourself. When you mess up, I mean, really mess up, instead of pointing fingers, you say, that's on me. That's that's mental toughness. And it's built in the repetition. Owning your mistakes, discipline over distraction, staying late to prepare, not because anybody's making you, but because you want to be ready. Um, Famous Coach Don Meyer, when he retired, I want to say it was around 2010 or so. When he retired, he had 923 victories as a college basketball coach. At that time, it was more than anybody. Now, of course, Mike Krzyzewski has passed him, and Gino, what's his name, has too, on the women's side. But still, 923 wins over a career, that's impressive. And he said, and this is a direct quote, tough players thrive on the following: they make no excuses, they take responsibility for their actions, they believe in preparation with a purpose, they fight off temptations that interfere with their goals. I understand that. I do. Um, I may have mentioned this before. Only about 4% of all scouts become Eagle Scout. And as a former failed Eagle Scout aspirant, um, there's usually two things that get in the way. And we used to say this as scout leaders. They have to look out, the scouts have to look out for the fumes. And everybody's like, the fumes? What do you mean? Well, there's two. You've got exhaust fumes, in other words, a car, and perfumes, girls. Now, the car part, yeah. The big thing for me, though, was I'd broken my leg at summer camp, summer before my ninth grade year. And once I got the cast off, I jumped headfirst into rehabbing, trying to get ready for football again. And, suddenly going to scout meetings on Thursday nights, it wasn't as important to me. And, to this day, it's one of the biggest regrets I have that I didn't stick it out. But you make your choices, you swallow hard, you move on. My older kid got Eagle with a lot of stuff in the way: choir, drama, etc. Um, my younger son, sports got in the way. But my younger son, holy moly, talk about dedicated to sports. Just as my older son was dedicated to choir and drama and getting his Eagle, my younger son dedicated to sports. I've got pictures of him setting up netting and whatnot in the backyard to either work on a swing or work on his pitching. When he stopped pitching as a freshman, he was almost 90 miles an hour. And reason he dropped baseball is that the coaches gave him a choice. Said, well, you can play baseball, you can play golf, but if you miss any practices, you won't play in any games that week. And he said, okay, I'm going to choose golf. Here's another example of him choosing golf. We moved into this house 10 years ago this week. And even though he had some friends in the neighborhood, when he wasn't out doing stuff with them, you've seen those big buckets at Lowe's and Home Depot. The ones at Home Depot are orange, of course. The ones at Lowe's are blue. Well, I had a big blue bucket, and it was full of shag balls, crappy golf balls. And there were no houses out here because we were the first ones to build on this part of the circle. So my younger son, Daniel, he took that bucket and my golf clubs. He didn't have his own clubs yet. And he went out in the front yard and he hit golf balls every day. And at the beginning of the summer, that bucket was full. By the end of the summer, he had not quite found all of the golf balls that were left. And I'm convinced that the foundation across the street probably has some golf balls in it. But I tell you what, by the end of the summer, I couldn't come close to playing him anymore, not competitively. And that's the kind of preparation with purpose that I'm talking about here today. Every rep matters, every drill, every task, every conversation. And you don't just show up, you show up ready, you show up with intention. You prep for the late game decisions, the awkward conversations, the high stake calls, the moments when leadership isn't about having the title, it's about having the spine. And yeah, I'm not talking about sports right now either. Talent will get you a long way, but it won't get you all the way. So develop that right now development, that right now mindset. I'm going to work hard right now. Don't let yourself off the hook. Yeah, no one's watching, but you are. And toughness doesn't need an audience. It thrives even if nobody's looking. Excuses are cheap. Ownership costs something. And that pain of preparation, the sting of accountability, that's going to buy what you want. Whether it's in the workplace, whether it's on the sporting field, whatever, it's going to buy you respect. So, the next time you walk into a meeting, next time you work on a project, the next time you go to practice, your next challenge, whatever it is, are you coasting on talent or are you grinding with purpose? Are you giving excuses or are you taking ownership? Are you hoping that you'll just rise to the occasion or have you built yourself up to the point so you never fall below your preparation? Toughness is not born. It's not in your DNA. It's in your daily decisions. And that's good news because it's up to you. And I think you can do it. And that's today's Red Mike message. I hope you found it interesting. I hope you found it helpful. I appreciate you being here. I appreciate you indulging me being here a little bit later this morning. Would like to wish Deborah Chapman a very happy birthday. She was my 8th grade history teacher, and then she was my government teacher in high school. And she's heard me say this before, but she's the reason that I ended up majoring in political science. She lit a fire in my brain and my soul and my psyche, and I find government fascinating. I don't, So if you know Deborah Chapman, she was Miss Goodman when I first had class with her, and then she was Mrs. Chapman later. So if you know her, wish her a happy birthday. Tell her you heard good things about her from the Red Mike. I appreciate you being here. I really do. I'll see you again tomorrow. Don't forget, life is short. Drink the bourbon.